I mean, you look at a guy like Roger Staubach. You played with Roger Staubach, right?
Oh, yeah.
Roger Staubach, great quarterback. Now, this is a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and one of the things he's most famous for, he was with one woman his entire life. Can you imagine that today? Imagine the quarterback of the Dallas. I can name like 6 or 7 supermodels Tony Romo's dated before he got married. You know, it's just a different lifestyle completely. You have to almost be an entertainer, a playboy. You got to be on the back covers.
I'll tell you something. There's nobody like Roger Staubach. Believe me. He is one of a kind, and when the Lord made him, he threw away the mold because he's special. He is a special guy, and I can remember I got to the Cowboys as a player at the same time that Roger got there as a player. And it was pretty amazing. We had a quarterback named Craig Morton who was a really good football player. And the difference came down to leadership. And Roger was a leader. And he's, I think more than any other reason, he's the reason. I know how good our defense was. We had doomsday defense. Bob Lilly, we had this. He's the main reason that we won championships back then.
Do you have any good stories of when one night out in Chicago with the boys that stand out?
Not that I can repeat.
We're talking like Kenny Stabler's, or like the Snake as book, or something like that. Or,
No, we you know, it was kind of a thing. It wasn't only me; it was the whole team. We played a football game. We went to a place called Freddie Hattenberger had a place called the Cottage, which was famous in Chicago. You look it up. Every baseball player, every hockey player, well, they didn't have basketball then. Every football player came through Chicago, ended up at the Cottage at one time or another. A great place, great food, German restaurant. So we hung out there, and we drank a lot of beer. We really did.
Do you ever hang out with like Sophia Loren or any of those?
Oh, I think I missed that one.
You missed Sophia Loren? I mean, you were the Rookie of the Year, coach. You're the
I
Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
You got the glamour days of Hollywood, the starlets.
No. You know, don't forget, 1961 was my first year, and we used to go out and play the Rams out there in L.A. That was a big treat for us. But no, there were no Hollywood stars.
No?
back in the 60s, too, they had to have a second job out in the off-season, right? It was.
Are you kidding me? We all had a job.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a job that paid me. My first football contract was $12,000 a year, 12.
Yeah.
And I was the sixth player picked in the first round. I had a $12,000 signing bonus with a contract with a $6,000 signing bonus. Now you figure that out. That's $18,000, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I go in. I had to make All-Pro Rookie of the Year, everything. I go in and talk to Hallis, and I sit down across from him, and you're not going to win that battle. But he says, well, kid, you had a good year, but you did this, and you missed curfew, and I had to fine you, and this and that. He said, but I'm going to give you $14,000 this year. I said, Coach, that doesn't make any sense. I said, I made 12, and the six with the bonus was 18 last year. He said, no. He said, you made 12. I made 18. I wouldn't sign a penny less than 18. As soon as I said it, he put out a contract for 18, and I signed it. Therefore, he knew what he was doing. I didn't know what he was doing, but he knew what he was doing. And that's a true story. So I'm sitting there, I thought, boys, I got him. No, I didn't get him. I got God.
You walked away thinking you won.
And it was great. I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything. Negotiating with Coach Hallis, even when he hired me as the head coach, I didn't care what he paid me.
Yeah.
The only thing that mattered was the opportunity.
Sure.
I was the lowest paid head coach in the game when I was hired, and that's okay. But it worked out. We won a championship, and I had a loyalty to the Bears, that I'll always have. Because of Hallis.
I have to admit, I'm an Oakland Raider fan, but back in the Flores days.
I won't hold it against you. No, Flores, Tom is a great guy.
Yeah, you and Tom are the only two that have won. That's what I was going to ask. Did you like being a player or a coach better?
I think when you're young and you can play, that's the greatest. I really do.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, I really enjoyed my years as an assistant coach. I got to learn the game. I got to learn under a coach like Tom Landry and our assistant coaches, Jim Myers, the guy. I got to work with them, and I understood the game of football was just not about knocking the other guy on his back. You had to understand how to attack him, how to set it up, what formations were, what movements meant, and so it really helped me. And my years with the Cowboys were the most important years to me. And then I got the opportunity to go and coach the Bears. That was fantastic. Yeah.
The Giants had an assistant coach, Tom Landry, and an assistant coach, Vince Lombardi, and neither of them ended up being the head coach of the Giants. How is that even possible?
Well, of course, Vince went to Green Bay, and of course, Green Bay was nowhere to go when Vince went there, and he made it. He completely transformed that whole thing and made the Green Bay Packers, well, maybe the greatest franchise in the history of the game.
Who would win in a fight between a polar bear and Mike Ditka?
And Tom,
Uh-oh. Oh,
We'll scratch that out
Okay.
for the Chicago fans. We'll scratch that out.
no, I'm serious. I mean, they were. I mean, under Lombardi, they were fantastic. I think the greatest thing is we went up there in 1963. We opened the season up there against the Packers, and we beat them. And we went on and won the championship that year. But you weren't going anywhere unless you beat the Packers. I mean, that was where it started. I mean, and Hallis told us that. You know, our goal is to have a good football team and to win, but in order to do that, we have to beat the Packers. Not once, but twice.
And you had probably, and this is back in the day, you had 2-a-days, full padded practices. Now they can't even practice in pads. The offensive line play is so bad in the NFL, you can never hit anybody anymore.
Well, you said it, I didn't.
Gerard and I were talking, and we were saying that, you know, this 2020 ticket coming up for the next election, there'd be nobody better than you and Chuck Norris running.
Yeah. Let it
What do you
ride.
think? Would you do that? Would you run with Chuck Norris as your running mate?
I don't think America's ready for that yet.
I think we're. That's just we need to bring it back. That's what
Talk about
America needs.
leadership. We need leadership.
We need this, right?
Well, you know, it's still the greatest country on earth. We may not agree with a lot of things, but it's still the greatest country on earth.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know, that's only a recent thing, too. You used to be, like my dad is a Republican, my mom's a Democrat. I don't think that could happen today, especially, you know, where Rocco lives in Brooklyn. It's like, if you're one or the other, it's like,
The polarization
the Hatfields and McCoys.
You're an American.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all.
And it's got to go back to that. America first. I agree.
Football players are bigger, stronger, faster. The games are in HD. But one thing that is absolutely not nearly as good as it was during your day is Saturday Night Live. Did you have any idea that sketch was coming out that became so iconic?
No, not at all. Back then, and you know, people thought, well, I probably did too much, but and then they might have been right.
No
you know.
way. That was the best.
But we had a lot of laughs with it, you know, and they were good people. They were nice. They did it in a nice way, and we had a lot of fun with it. I mean,
George
some people like it, some don't. George, I really enjoyed working with him. He was a good man.